It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. My wife, Isolde, a vibrant and affectionate woman, began to pull away. We lived in the quaint, historic town of Savannah, Georgia, a city known for its Spanish moss-draped oaks and cobblestone streets. I'm Cormac, I'm 46, and I work as an IT specialist for a local hospital. Isolde always had a demanding job as a real estate agent, but she used to make time for me. Dinners together, weekend strolls along River Street, cozy evenings watching old movies, these were the threads that wove our lives together. But lately, those threads were fraying. Isolde would come home late, claiming demanding clients and last-minute showings. Her phone, once an open book, became a closely guarded secret. She'd clutch it protectively, turning away when I entered the room, her fingers dancing across the screen with a furtive intensity. I tried to brush it off, attributing it to the pressures of her job, but a nagging unease began to settle in my gut, a cold dread that whispered of something amiss. One evening, Isolde said she had to attend a real estate conference in Atlanta. It's crucial for networking, Cormac, she explained, her eyes avoiding mine. I'll be back on Sunday evening. I helped her pack, a hollow ache growing in my chest. As she left, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The house felt eerily empty without her. I tried to distract myself with work, but my mind kept wandering back to Isolde, to her secretive behavior, to the gnawing suspicion that was slowly consuming me. That night I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, my mind racing, replaying every interaction with Isolde over the past few months, searching for clues, for answers. Finally, around 3 a.m., I gave up on sleep. I wandered downstairs, drawn to the living room. As I passed Isolde's desk, something caught my eye. It was a small, unfamiliar charger plugged into the wall. Curiosity piqued, I followed the cord to its source, a small, unassuming phone hidden beneath a stack of papers. My heart pounded in my chest. What was this? Why would Isolde hide a phone from me? With trembling hands, I picked it up and pressed the power button. The screen flickered to life, revealing a simple, generic interface. It was a burner phone, the kind you buy at a convenience store with cash, no questions asked. A wave of nausea washed over me. I knew instinctively that this phone held the key to the mystery that had been plaguing me. I hesitated for a moment, a part of me wanting to remain in the blissful ignorance of denial. But the need to know, the burning desire for the truth, overwhelmed my fear. I unlocked the phone and navigated to the Messages app. My breath caught in my throat. The inbox contained a series of texts, all from a single contact labeled Marcus. The messages were recent, intimate, and undeniably romantic. "Can't wait to see you in Atlanta, my love," one message read. "The hotel room is booked and I have a special surprise waiting for you." Another message, sent just hours before Isolde left, said, "Drive safe, darling. I'm counting down the minutes until I can hold you in my arms again." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My vision blurred and a deafening roar filled my ears. I stumbled backward, collapsing into a nearby chair. Isolde, my wife, the woman I loved and trusted, was having an affair. And she was in Atlanta, not for a conference, but for a rendezvous with her lover. The pain was like a physical blow, a crushing weight that threatened to suffocate me. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and utterly heartbroken. How could she do this to me? How could she lie to my face, pretending everything was fine while carrying on a secret affair behind my back? I spent the rest of the night in a daze, rereading the messages, each one a fresh stab wound to my heart. As the sun began to rise, a cold resolve settled within me. I couldn't stay in this house, surrounded by the ghosts of our shattered marriage. I needed to confront Isolde, to demand answers, to understand how our love had come to this. I booked a flight to Atlanta for that afternoon. I didn't know what I would say or do when I saw her, but I knew I couldn't let her continue to live this lie. I had to face her, to expose her betrayal, and to begin the long and arduous process of healing. When I arrived in Atlanta, I went straight to the hotel mentioned in the messages. The receptionist confirmed that Isolde had checked in under her name. I asked for her room number, and my hands shaking, I made my way to the elevator. As I stood outside her door, I took a deep breath, trying to steel myself for what I was about to do. I raised my hand and knocked. The door swung open, and there she was, Isolde, her face flushed, her hair slightly disheveled. Her eyes widened in shock as she saw me. "Cormac, what are you doing here?" she stammered, her voice trembling. Behind her, a man emerged from the bedroom, his expression a mixture of surprise and guilt. He was tall, handsome, and impeccably dressed. I recognized him instantly. It was Marcus, a colleague of Isolde's from the real estate agency. "Isolde, who is this?" Marcus asked, his voice laced with a barely concealed arrogance. I didn't say a word. I simply held up the burner phone, the screen displaying the incriminating messages. Isolde's face drained of color. She knew she had been caught. "Cormac, please let me explain," she pleaded, her eyes filled with tears. "Explain what, Isolde?" I said, my voice cold and hard. "Explain how you've been lying to me for months. Explain how you've been betraying our marriage with this. I struggled to find the words to express my disgust. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Oh, really? Then tell me, Isolde, what exactly is it?" I challenged, my anger simmering just beneath the surface. She hesitated for a moment, then burst into tears. "It just happened," she sobbed. "Marcus and we connected. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You didn't mean for it to go this far." I repeated, my voice rising. "You booked a hotel room, you exchanged love notes, you lied to my face. How much further did you plan to go?" Isolde. Marcus stepped forward, his expression defiant. "Look, Cormac, I know this is difficult, but Isolde and I were in love. We can't help how we feel." I turned to him, my eyes blazing with fury. "You're in love. You think love is about sneaking around, lying, and betraying the people who trust you. You're nothing but a pathetic excuse for a man." I turned back to Isolde, my heart aching with a pain I had never known before. "I thought we had something special, Isolde. I thought we were happy. How could you do this to me?" "I'm sorry, Cormac," she said, her voice choked with tears. "I truly am. I never wanted to hurt you, but you did, Isolde," I said, my voice trembling. "You broke my heart, you shattered my trust, and you destroyed everything we built together." I couldn't bear to look at her any longer. I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there with her lover, the pieces of our broken marriage scattered at their feet. The flight back to Savannah was a blur. I sat in my seat, staring blankly out the window, the events of the past 24 hours replaying in my mind. I felt numb, empty, and utterly alone. When I arrived home, I went straight to our bedroom and began packing my things. I couldn't stay in this house, surrounded by the memories of our life together. I needed to leave, to start over, to find a way to heal from this devastating betrayal. As I packed, I came across a photo album, filled with pictures of Isolde and me throughout the years. There were pictures of our wedding day, of our vacations, of our everyday moments of joy and laughter. I flipped through the pages, my heart aching with a profound sense of loss. I realized that I had lost not only my wife, but also my best friend, my confidant, the person I had shared my life with for so many years. The pain was almost unbearable. I closed the photo album and placed it in a box, along with the rest of my belongings. As I carried the box out of the house, I took one last look back. The house seemed empty, lifeless, a shell of its former self. I walked away, leaving behind the ruins of my shattered marriage, determined to rebuild my life, to find happiness again, and to never again trust so blindly. The next few months were a blur of legal proceedings, emotional therapy, and soul-searching. The divorce was messy and acrimonious, with Isolde fighting for every penny she could get. I refused to be bitter or vengeful. I just wanted to be free of her, to put this chapter of my life behind me. Eventually, the divorce was finalized. I sold the house in Savannah and moved to Asheville, North Carolina, a city nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains, known for its vibrant art scene and its laid-back atmosphere. I found a small apartment in a historic neighborhood and threw myself into my work. I also started exploring my creative side, taking photography classes and hiking in the mountains. Slowly, I began to heal. The pain of Isolde's betrayal didn't disappear entirely, but it began to fade, replaced by a sense of hope and optimism. One day, about a year after my divorce, I received a message from an old friend in Savannah. "Have you heard about Isolde?" he wrote. "Things didn't exactly work out with Marcus." Curiosity piqued. I asked him to elaborate. He told me that Isolde and Marcus had moved in together after I left, but their relationship quickly soured. Marcus, it turned out, was a serial cheater, and he soon began seeing other women. Isolde was devastated. She had given up everything for him, and he had betrayed her in the same way she had betrayed me. She tried to win me back, but I refused to even speak to her. To add insult to injury, Marcus left Isolde for another woman, leaving her alone and penniless. She lost her job, her house, and her reputation. She was ostracized by her friends and family who were disgusted by her actions. I felt a pang of sympathy for her, but I couldn't bring myself to forgive her. She had made her choices, and she had to live with the consequences. I knew that I deserved better, and I was grateful that I had escaped from her web of lies and deceit. I continued to rebuild my life in Asheville, surrounded by supportive friends and pursuing my passions. I learned to trust again, to love again, and to appreciate the simple joys of life. I emerged from the ashes of my broken marriage a stronger, wiser, and more resilient man. Looking back, I realized that Isolde's betrayal, while incredibly painful, had ultimately been a catalyst for positive change in my life. It had forced me to confront my own vulnerabilities, to reevaluate my priorities, and to create a future that was truly authentic and fulfilling. And so, my story ends not with bitterness or regret, but with hope and gratitude. I am grateful for the lessons I learned, for the strength I found within myself, and for the opportunity to create a new and better life. I hope that my story can serve as a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable betrayal, it is possible to heal, to grow, and to find happiness again. Remember, dear reader, that betrayal can be a painful chapter in your life, but it doesn't have to define your entire story. You have the power to overcome adversity, to rebuild your life, and to create a future filled with love, joy, and fulfillment. Never lose hope, never give up on yourself, and never stop believing in the possibility of a brighter tomorrow.